Hello. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Chalking Up the Walls. My name is April, and you are in my craft room. So welcome. Hope you guys are having an awesome day. We are going to do another one of our Thrifty Thursdays today. This light's really bright, and it's making my nose super shiny. So let's see if we can scoot that out of the way so it's not quite so bright. That's a little bit better. Anyway, welcome. Let's see what we can come up with today. This one should go pretty quickly, though. We got a little bit of painting to do, but that's no worries. So my thrift store item that I found this week is this little beaded hanging sign, and it says, "Thank you, Lord, for fall," on the front, but obviously we've moved past that. So, and the price tag is 50 cents. So let's see what we can come up with for our 50 cents. This sticker is stuck on there pretty good, so I'm going to use my trusty heat tool. That's actually a pretty nifty tip. It works really well on glass, too. If you happen to have one of those and you have these pesky little price stickers, just run that heat tool over it for a little while, heat up that adhesive, and it peels right off. So let's get rid of that. And let's get to some painting. All right, so let's grab a couple of paint boards. First things first, I want to separate these beads from this sign. So my thought here is that we are going to make a cute little sign to put on a tiered tray, and then we're going to actually use these beads as well, though. Take them off. We're going to use these beads as well and make a little garland type bead strand with some extra beads that I had in my stash, so they go together. And we are going to move forward. I know it's not quite Christmas yet, but obviously we are pretty close to the end. So as far as any major decorating goes, at least in my house, we are complete with that. So we're going to move forward and try to think Valentine's is what we're going for. So obviously we won't be setting that up just yet, but it's always a good idea to have a few things ready before you need them. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. So I am going to obviously paint over that, but I want to kind of sand down it a little bit with my sandpaper and see if I can't get some of this paint to come off. It's not going to come off completely, but I'm going to try to get some of it off. It'll make it much easier to paint over. So I am taking my sanding block and just sanding away to get some of that off. And I'm actually doing it over my trash can so I don't make a huge mess. Because Lord knows, when you're sanding, you can make kind of a little bit of a mess with the dust and whatnot. So I try my best to keep that under control. Again, we're painting over this, so it doesn't have to be perfect, but I'm trying to get some of that dark black off so it's easier to cover. The more of it we can get off, the less coats of paint we're going to have to put on it. Dust everywhere. All right, I think that's pretty good. So take my towel, wipe off some of that remaining dust, and let's start covering this. I picked out, I got dust all over me. I picked out 3 colors, and I picked out these 3 different pinks, primarily because they match pretty closely to the bead colors. So I'm going to try to get them to match as close as possible as I can with that, and then we're going to use the beads that came off of our Thrifty Find to go in between the colored ones. That way we're using pretty much other than that piece of wire, which I threw in my trash can, everything. All right, so let's paint. Let me grab a sponge brush from over here. All right, perfect. And let's start painting. Let's get this coated. What are we gonna do it with, though? let's go with this middle color for our background. It is called Cactus Flower. All right, so let's put a bunch of paint on here. It may take a couple coats, but we've got other things to, oh yeah, definitely. But let's get a good little base coat down. Let that dry. Move on to some other stuff and we'll go over it. But I think this is gonna work. It does kind of have a slick texture, even though we sanded most of it. It's still got some slickness to it. So we're gonna just put one coat on here, let that dry. But anyways, you guys jump on, say hey or something. That way I know you're here. I hope you guys are having an amazing day. Let me know what you're doing on your Thursday. As always, on my Thursdays, I went and did my volunteer work at our local senior center. That was super fun. Today was their Christmas party, so that was like even more fun. Hey, what's up, Miss Veronica? I hope you're awesome. What you been up to? Anything cool? Welcome. Okay, and then, like I said, we are going to, I just found this random tag in the stash. I, at one point, had painted it purple, but I'm going to paint back over it with this same color. And this will be the base of one of our strands. Let's get some paint going on that. Let that dry. Just a little bit of painting today, but that's okay. It'll go quick. It will. All right, so let's set that there. And then I've got these little wooden hearts that I found again in the stash, and I'm almost positive that they came from one of the craft stores. You can find them in like their little wood sections. So we're gonna use those to kind of decorate this up. All right, so let's just find some space on here where we can stick all of our hearts, get them painted, and then we'll get to covering our stuff. Okay, so let's do, I don't know if I stuck my hand in that or what went down there, but we need more paint on that for sure. All right, we're getting there. I actually kind of like the little like purple shining through, but for the sake of this project, we're gonna keep going. Okay, and I don't know if you guys have seen me do this much or not, but I like to use these little makeup sponges. This one's been cut in half, but I know, right? It's that time of year, just surviving. I hear you. But next year is right around the corner. Let's do the tiny ones in cotton candy. Put a little paint in here. Anyway, like I was saying, I like to use these makeup brushes, or these makeup sponges, and this one has been cut in half. Just makes it way easier, and I don't know, I just think it's great to paint with. Plus, they're like very, very inexpensive. I get mine off of Amazon in a, like they come in like a bag of, I don't know, maybe 24 or something like that, but I get a pack of like 3 or 4 of those. And they're very expensive. I've done the math once before, and I think it works out to like less than a dime a piece. So it's a very inexpensive way to paint, for sure. All right, let's keep going. Get a good little coat on these little hearts. Set that there, and then our third pink is carousel pink. It's a darker pink, which I think is super pretty. All the pinks today. All the pinks. I know, it's so wild to think that we are already thinking about decorating for Valentine's Day, but I have found if I don't start early, then I am last minute stressing. These would be super cute gifts that you could give someone in your household for Valentine's Day who likes to decorate their office or their desk or wherever they choose to do, or, you know, just keep them for yourself, stick them on a tiered tray. That's what I'm going to do with them. All right, paint, paint, paint. Lots of painting. But this paint dries really fast, so we'll be okay. But anyway, the thrift store that I found this at, again, was the Giving Tree here in Waterloo. It benefits our local senior center. It's actually in the basement of the senior center. It's all in the same building. And they just have, like, just completely unique and awesome things. Our community has really, like, shown up for them and has brought in some amazing stuff. So I like to go down there and check it out. Plus, on Thursdays, I'm there anyway in the upstairs helping get the orders and silverware and whatever I need to do to help them out during the morning hours. So when I get done with my volunteering, I can just go downstairs and do a little shopping. And like I said, this sign, complete with the beads that we already hacked off, was 50 cents. So, you know, see what we can do with it. All right, we need to get more on, I'll scoop that over, this background. We need to cover up this black. And as I expected, it is going to take a few coats, but that's okay. Just keep going with it. It does not want to stick on my tape very well. Anyway, we're going to get there. Just keep going. Make sure we get this dry so we can add another layer. So we get it all covered. Nice and covered. It might have been a good idea to go the paintbrush route, or the paint sponge, makeup sponge, goodness, route with this too, because it does give you like a decent coat. But actually these, I like these foam brushes too. They work very well. And they're nice because you can kind of smooth out all your lines. I really just need to get this center coated. Oh goodness, FedEx coming through. Not for me, I've got my presents done. Hopefully you guys have got most all of your shopping and gifting at least planned out, if not completed yet. I hope so for your sake. Yep. I do. I am good to go. I actually have, now that I say that, I think I have one package that is arriving today, and honestly, it may have already arrived. I didn't look. I should before somebody finds it. But fortunately, my daughter is almost 17 years old, so she knows better. She knows much better than to go opening packages this time of year, because that is just going to suck the fun right out of her deal. Okay, let's get these finished so we can at least get one of our projects completed here quickly. But yeah, a little fun decor. Why not? I really am having an absolute ball with these Thrifty Thursdays. Taking something and just making something completely different with it. Okay. I need one of these big hearts and one of these small hearts to work on our strand. And then the other three we're going to put on the sign. That way they match. And they'll look super cute together on my tray. All right, keep a coating. All right, cool. I think, except for there's a weird piece of fuzz on this one. Goodbye, fuzz. Okay, I think our little ones are done. So that's great. All right, let's see if we can get this completed. I'm just gonna paint the front for now, just to save you guys a little bit of time. But once we're done and it's all glued and dried up and whatnot, I will flip it over and paint the back as well. Because you never know, on a tiered tray, sometimes you can see the back. But, I don't know. We'll see. That, my friends, is not the right color. Oops. Oh well. Let's use the right color. There we go. I have a little bit of an ombre going there, but we'll cover it up. That's hilarious. Too many pinks. Never too many pinks. All right. All right, cool. I think I'm good with this tray completely. Let me do one more coat on this. We'll let it dry while we put together our strand, and then we will finish this one. So anyway, like I was saying, my daughter's old enough where she knows this time of year we don't go opening up packages or it's going to ruin the surprise. So fortunately, we've gotten to that point. I don't have to hide things nearly as much as I used to when she was younger. She wasn't a huge snooper, but you know how kids are. Not even just kids, just people in general. I'm telling you. I know adults who even still like to snoop around. For gifts. That to me is no fun. But to each their own. It's your world. You do what you want. All right, let's get this dried. And let's start working on our beads. Bead strand. Oh, purple was really dark. It took a couple coats to cover it up, but we're there. We are there. All right, cool. I am done with those. Okay, we're good. Let's get out our string and see what we're doing here. Let's make a little bit of room. Okay, so here's the beads that I'm going to use. They're kind of all fun and different, but Valentine's-y nevertheless. Heart-colored anyway. I'm going to get out this trusty box here because I know me and they will go flying. So I don't want this strand super long, but I want it long enough. So let's start with 5 of the ones that are, whoa, super bright light, that are polka dots. Let's start with 5 of the ones that are striped. And let's do 5 of the ones that are, yeah, the darker of the light pinks. How ironic is that? The darker of the light pinks. But anyway, these are the ones that I picked out to sort of match our colors. I mean, not exact, but close enough, right? Close enough. And then we're going to use, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so I think that's actually going to work out pretty good. We'll see. Okay, we've got stuff everywhere. Goodness gracious, I need a bigger table. Okay, let's get our painter's tape so we can start stringing up our stuff. I like to use, they actually make something called a bead threader, which I do not have, but I like to just do this. I definitely have painter's tape in the craft room, so I just use that. Like such. Okay, we are going to need, you know what, let's finish our tag. Make sure it's dry. It is. Almost dry. Almost dry. And I can still see a little bit of this purple. I want you to be cool. Okay, awesome. Grab a tassel. You can make your own tassels, but I have an entire stash of them. They're very easy to make. One of these days I'll show you guys how to do it. It's hot in this craft room. But anyway. Okay, get this dry and ready to rock and roll. All right, let's pop this off. Whoa. I'm going to need one of these, set you over here. And let's start. Okay, so first things first, take your thread and go through like so. Figure out how long we want it to be. I don't want it to be super long though, because the tier tray that I'm putting it on is not going to be really big. I think that is probably good enough. Okay. Cut that. Right? Yeah, I think that's gonna be good. Okay. Even though I just pulled that right on out there, didn't I? Okay, let's make a loop and tie off our one end. Like such. Yes, I'm definitely gonna have to paint the back of it, but I'll spare you guys the fun of that. And then take our other little piece of tape, our other half tape, and finish this. Okay, spin, spin, spin. We may need more than our 5, but that's okay. Let's go with a natural colored one that came from our thrift find. And let's go dark. Do I want more natural ones in between? No, what? Let's not. Okay, let's go dark, stripe, light, white. And then this one. And then we did, how did we do it? Dark. Plain, stripe. I absolutely love making these farm bead strands or bead strands, whatever you want to call them. It's super relaxing. I do this a lot when my family is camping. I'll just bring a big old bag of beads with me and we'll just sit by the campfire or sit outside and just relax, and I'll just have my box of beads like this and I'll just start stringing away. I enjoy making them a lot. They're fun. And obviously very versatile. You can make them to fit whatever season you choose. All right, stripe, solid, spots. All right, cool. Making progress. Oh, I see I have a couple of people watching. Welcome. Welcome, new people, whomever you are. Thanks for joining the party. I love it. I need one more set. Ooh, and fortunately, I have exactly one more of the darker. So that's perfect. What a great way to use up these beads. I get most all of my colored, decorative, whatever you want to call these, beads off of Amazon, but you can buy them in most craft stores as well. But honestly, Amazon's got a really great selection, and you can really dial in like what style and what color you want. So that's what I do. Got a couple left over from our thrifty find, but that's fine. This is long enough. Okay, let's attach our tassel. Just stick that same end through here. Tie it off. Whenever you're making these, make sure that your beads have a little bit of wiggle room. You don't want to tie them off super tight because you're going to want to be able to like style it in your wherever and give yourself a little bit of room. So don't tie it off, or my suggestion anyway. It's your craft, do what you want. But my suggestion is to give yourself a little bit of space. Otherwise, whenever you're trying to style it, you're going to have a very stiff line. And you don't necessarily want that. All right, once you get that tied onto your tassel like this, take that end and just go right back through these bottom beads. It'll secure them. It'll kind of hide this little tail, and it makes your bead strand look really, I don't know if professional is the word for it, but it makes it look nice. That way you don't have like your little tails floating all over the place. And then once you get it through, I typically do 3, but only 2 is going to fit here. Cut off the one. It's very important. Cut off the one with the tape. Don't cut the other string or you're going to be doing it all over again, which is just more fun for you, but you know, make sure you cut the right end. All right, we're going to do the exact same thing on this end. We're going to thread that right back up through the same beads Yay, the sunshine is out. Y'all, we were getting some crazy rain earlier today. That's why I waited, because it was really stormy out there. I was afraid that I was going to lose my internet. It didn't end up happening, but if I would have gone live, it would have. All right, and this is where we're at now. We have our strand. Okay, now to finish this off, we're going to take these two little hearts and just glue them down. Once we get our glue to cooperate with us. Come on, while we wait for our glue. Maybe. Let's add another quick coat on here. Which we need more paint for. I'm mostly concerned about the inside because I'm actually going to add a cute little decoration on the sides. So I'm not honestly too worried about covering up that black checkered that we had going on there. But I want to make sure you can't read where it said thankful for fall or whatever it said. Because nobody wants that. Okay, cool. Cool. All right. Back to this. Back to our glue. Come on, glue. I need you to come out. Please and thank you. Ain't nobody want to wait for that. We'll use a new glue. See, so much faster. Sorry, old glue. Not today, friend. All right, and we're just gonna put one of our hearts right there in the middle, as middle-ish as we want to put it. Again, it's our craft, so, you know, doesn't have to be perfect. Because A, perfection is overrated, and B, if it's perfect, no one will believe that you made it. That's so true. I'm sorry, Miss Veronica, what you talking about? What is so true? Thank you, Sarah. Aren't they fun? They're fun. They are. I've made a many different colors, many different seasons, and they go everywhere. Oh, look! And our strand with our thrifty beads from our sign. All right, well, there's one little project down. Let's make some sense out of this mess we got going on here. We got stuff everywhere. All right, glue. I'm gonna need that again, though. Okay. Are we good enough here? I think we are. I do believe we are. Okay. Cute and covered. And good to go. All right. It took quite a few coats of this to cover that black, but that's okay. Paint is fun, right? I'm doing another one because I can still see those words and it's driving me crazy. Maybe I will switch over to this method right quick because it does kind of let me get a thicker coat. Yeah, I think that's good. And again, I only need to do the middle part. I'm not worrying about the outside. Because when I was looking for these beads, I actually found these gem sheets. These little gem stickers that I know for sure I got from the dollar store. And I'm going to use those just to spice up the outside. We could actually use some ribbon so it's not quite so blingy. Ooh, I think I like that idea better. All right, let me make sure I can't see these words. Nope, I think we're good. But yeah, I think I like the idea of using a ribbon instead. Do I have a thicker Valentine's style ribbon? That's really red. That's really pink. Maybe not. Maybe not. I want a thick Valentine's style ribbon. Well, ooh, here we go. Here we go. polka dots. Let's go with that instead. Or maybe we'll do both. I don't know. Let's see what happens. All right. One more quick dry. And let's put this bad boy together. Awesome. All right. Paint out of the way before we get paint all over everything. Yep, I like this. This is going to be good. Okay. Pop you open. I have not used this one before. I don't know why I struggle so much getting these goofy little pieces of plastic off, but I do, y'all. I really, really do. Be dry. So I don't get glue all over my hand. Okay, I'm sorry. I know that's loud. And this is going to sit in my tray, so I'm not worried whatsoever about the back. Okay. Yep, that's cute. All right, I'm going to use some of this. Are you dry? Dry enough? Good enough? Yeah, I think so. All right. So let's take some of our little craft dots. Let's make a line here. A line that's going to be a little more challenging, but that's okay. A line here, a line here. And let's start with our ribbon. Make sure we get it where the polka dots are facing up. No, you don't want to be cool like that? Okay, that's fine. That mess. Let's use a little bit of this glue here. Or you know what? Why don't we use a tiny bit of this tape to hold it down, and then I'll come back and glue it tight once I know it's in the right spot. Okay, so I'm going to hold you here, like such. Okay, that's good. And then we're going to run this right along our edge and wrap our ribbon. You know, you can find some really cute ribbon at thrift stores too. I might actually have to look. This one I think does have a cute little kind of crafty section. I might have to check that out. Okay. Why doesn't my glue dot want to stick on it? What are you doing, glue dots? You're going to work. I know you are. All right. Tiny piece of tape to hold you together till we can get you permanently glued down. Yes. All right. I'm liking that. Look at that ribbon. Isn't that cute? Okay. Let's do the same thing. Maybe we'll cut the ribbon first. And scoot this over. This glue dot runner thing didn't quite do what I wanted it to do, so I'm going to use some of this very liquidy and slightly scary. It's not scary, that's the wrong word. But very fluid glue to hold you in place on the back. All right, let's get this where we want it. Got plenty, April, so there's no reason to be scared. I just really don't want to get this super glue all over my fingers. I don't. Okay. And tape you in place. Okay. Just to secure it. And then let's scoot it over because we've got it a little not quite even. All right, all right. secure you down. We're almost there, I promise. We are. Okay. Oops. Ah! That's where we're at now. Okay. And then I want to make sure that that glue is fairly dry before I don't want it to stick to my table, because that would be no fun. Okay, cool. Now, done with this. Let's glue our hearts together. And now, actually, do we want to do the blingy? Why not? What the heck, why not? Who doesn't like a little bling? And these are adhesive. If I decide at the end of it I don't like it, I can just take it right back off. But I have tons of these, so it's going to be just fine. Come on. Little sticky gems are sticking to themselves. Come off here, please, and thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, I don't want the whole thing though. Let's do cut right on this line. So what do we do? 3, right? 1, 2, 3. We're gonna need a little bit more, but let's see how far this takes us. All right, and they are adhesive, so you just stick that. Oh goodness, yeah, that is blingy. Wow, blingy. There's that one. Peel this off. Oh, that's really gonna be like sparkly and cool. And then let's do this side here. Line you up with our ribbon. Get you there. Get you there. And then how far do I need to go to finish it off? Right here. Okay. And I'm hoping that this is 3 and 3. Oh, it is. Perfect. All right, cool. Okay, we're almost there, y'all. Okay. Line that up. Line that up. If you line it up perfectly, you won't even be able to tell that we pieced it together, which I think we were able to do. Well, there. Okay. My goodness. So sparkly, so fun. So sparkly and so fun. All right, now look where we're at. It almost has that metallic. And if you didn't like that shiny, you can take paint, and maybe I'll try it. I don't know. I like it kind of sparkly because it's going to stand out. But if you didn't want it quite so blingy, you can take, and I would do it before you stick it on here, but you can take some paint and just kind of like dry brush over it just to sort of mute it down. You know what, maybe? No, I don't want to do that. I don't. Okay, because I like the sparkle. And I've got a few things in my Valentine's decor that has some like shiny silver in it. So it ultimately is going to like kind of match for me. But you do whatever colors matches your decor, whatever you like. Okay, let's glue these on. And we're done. How fun. I love our little Thrifty Thursdays. I can't wait to go and find some more stuff to share with you guys. I'm thinking about doing, if I can find the right thing, I'm thinking about doing a textile of some sort with, I don't know exactly how we're going to do it, with maybe some fabric markers or something along those lines. But I think it might be cool to do a textile of sorts and see what we can kind of upgrade with that. Maybe a towel. I don't know, maybe like a plain t-shirt. I'm not sure yet. All right, again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but we're gonna shoot for somewhat in the middle here. And I like to start with the middle and then kind of space out the open space from there. If I were to start on one of the ends, it would never look right. It just wouldn't. Okay, how about like that? So many pinks. So much sparkle. Cute. Cute, cute. And I'm not a big like pink girl in general, but especially when it comes to hearts and Valentine's Day, you get the pink. All right, let's see if we can't, you know what might be cute? Let's drop these down a tad. And let's pull this one up a little bit to give it so it doesn't have to look exactly like straight and narrow. But give it a little bit of a extra dimension or whatever, extra flair. All right, let's put these guys in the middle of our pink, of our big hearts. Of our big heart. One more to go. We are at the finish line. I can see it. I can see it. Cool. Yay! I'm loving this. Thank you. How super fun and bright and shiny is that? It in person isn't quite as bright and shiny, but I'm holding it into the light, so it's like super like glam. But how fun. And then we have our bead strand. That matches nicely. Stick that somewhere in your decor, and you, my friends, are good to go. Well, I enjoyed that one quite a bit. That was fun. From a 50-cent thrift store sign, black and white buffalo check designed for fall into an upgraded Valentine's Day fun. You know what this would be super cool for too? If you had a younger child, you could, and you would probably want to paint the back though, but you could turn this into like a standing Valentine's Day card. You know what I mean? Paint the back and have your kid like take a Sharpie or a marker and write to Mrs. whatever your teacher's name is, to Mrs. Walls from Little Thomas, whatever, you know what I mean? And then they could have like an actual like wooden little card. Ooh, I like that. I might do some of those when we get closer to Valentine's Day. I'm going to have to write that down, though, because I can promise you between now and February, I will forget all about it. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining me for Thrifty Thursday. That was a lot of fun. I had a blast. We made some fun stuff. And honestly, other than a handful of, like, little things from the craft room, 50 cents, man. Not a bad way to craft, I'm telling you. All right, guys. Well, enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Love y'all. As I said, thanks for watching. Next Thursday is Christmas, so we're not going to do Thrifty Thursday next Thursday, but maybe we'll do the following one. I think that's New Year's Day, so we may have to do it early. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'll keep you posted. But anyway, I will definitely be back with a completely different craft idea tomorrow. So if you got some free time tomorrow, come back and check it out. If not, the replay is always available. All right, guys. Love you. Have a great night, and we will do it again soon. All right. Bye.